Hey guys, Matt Size here, and today I am back for day number 6 of r/SupernovaRevenge. And today I have 3 stories lined up, and it's gonna be interesting, these ones. A lot of them are about destroying people's lives. Or killing them outright. We'll start off with this one, which I had for last episode, but ran out of time for. Destroying teenagers' life, reputation, family, and freedom for stealing over 20 people's belongings to pay off drug debt. So this is my friend's story, not my own, and all this information was told to me by him. At his school, there is a large issue with not only drugs, but physical and sexual abuse, along with horrible teachers. I have some light-hearted stories for my friend to share if you lads want it. However, this is not one of them. There is this guy, let's call him Chad. Oh, Chad. In 9th grade, he had gotten addicted to cocaine, which this led him into a lot of debt with his dealer because he's a teenager without money. This is obviously not a good situation to be in. 2 to 3k CAD in debt with a drug dealer. He either paid his debt or he would die. He took it upon himself to get into more short by paying off his debt by stealing other students' items, phones, makeup, apparently house keys, wallets, etc., and selling them on eBay, Kijiji, etc. And upon getting caught, would say, "Well then, how about you fucking do something about it?" Well, teachers just sent him to the office, called his parents, and went on with their day. The students, including my friend, being immature, self-righteous, dip short spoons, decided to fucking do something about it, so they all conjugated to develop a plan. Let's call this group the victims. They thought they should not only beat the kid when he was caught, but start letting more dangerous people know about him. So they started letting out small bits of information, like Chad hitting his girlfriend. True. Or Chad reselling what he bought for a higher price to his friends. Not sure if that's true. Or what really got Chad into trouble, speeding on homeless people. True and disgusting. So the group of 20 or so people Chad stole from started following him around, catching bits of things to record and show around. Eventually this got to the gang that likes to hang around the south side of my town. Let's call this gang Bad Cops. The Bad Cops already didn't like Chad to begin with, and from what you could get from the name, are violent police that aren't really the police. Basically, they just kick the short out of people that do bad short, like Chad. April. In the middle of April, Chad was found kicked to short, unconscious on the streets. He was rushed to the hospital, questioned by the police. Later, the victims were questioned. They provided evidence of what they accused them of, and later the bad cops were questioned. While I'm not quite sure of the specifics, Chad was tried for assault, possession of drugs, narcotics, disturbing the peace, and was sent to juvenile detention along with massive fines for his parents. The known members of the bad cops were sent to jail and juvie for assault and attempted murder, as there were stab wounds in Chad. And the victims were fined for things ranging from filming without permission to conspiracy to commit a crime. My friend was fined for filming Chad without his consent. TLDR, cocaine-addicted teen gets in debt, tries to pay it off with stolen goods, but is caught and sent to juvie. This was a sad story from what I hear. Chad is not doing so well, and his family is having a hard time paying off these fines, as Chad is only 15 and can't pay for anything. I'm not sure about how Chad's dealer is going to deal with the rest of the debt, if he will at all. And all I can really say is I feel bad for Chad's family. Not Chad though. Fork him. As they have been described as quite nice. But from what my nan says, The apple doesn't fall far from the tree. So, I'm not sure. Thanks for reading. I tried posting this in Pro-Revenge, but was removed for involving felonies and removed from Nuclear Revenge because it was school/bully. So let's hope this doesn't get taken down. But I've read stories of bullying in Nuclear Revenge. That doesn't make sense. Okay. You do dumb things, Nuclear Revenge. We're not reading your stuff anymore. Anyways. Let's move on to this one. Life-ruining revenge, 6 years in the making. By the way, this isn't my story. It was originally posted by user Bill Infamous. TLD at the end, English is my first language, and I'm on mobile. Not sure if this fits here, but it seems pretty nuclear to me. Now that it's out of the way, the backstory. I have had a on-again, off-again relationship with this girl since junior high. We've constantly been in each other's lives, even to this day, we still talk. I thought I was in love with her. Shocker, I wasn't. But in high school, things got pretty serious between us. And the more serious we got, the worse we treated each other when we fought. It was the most toxic relationship I have ever been in, but we're actually great friends now. At the time, I was working stock crew at the mall toy store. Sometimes it was an early shift, sometimes it was overnight, so my sleep schedule was all messed up. We were dating and sleeping together pretty regularly since my entire senior year. She had her circle of friends, I had mine, and they rarely intersected. Enter Dickhead Kyle. Now, Dickhead Kyle gave a bad name to all other monster-chugging, dry wall assaulting Kyles. He was physically and mentally abusive to his girlfriend, later wife. He manipulated his friends into letting him walk all over them, got one girl hooked on pills after he got her pregnant so she would be forced to give the baby up. What? Just a next level scumbag. Carl was a part of both our circles. He was friends with a few acquaintances I had, and the girl was pretty close to his girlfriend. The girl and I had a really bad fight a few days before, and had made up in our usual way. I was getting ready to go to bed for work the next morning. My phone went off. It was a text from Carl followed by 3 pictures. One nude of my girlfriend and his, and the last one only half loaded because it was clearly a picture of my girlfriend giving him a BJ. I was furious, but as I was already graduated, I wouldn't run into him again and take my rage out the traditional way, so I just said forget it and moved on with my life. I was still mad at the girl for cheating on me again. This happened multiple times on both ends, so I was forgiven pretty quickly. So we fought it out a few times and eventually made up when she told me the whole story. Carl had told her I was sleeping with his girlfriend's sister or something, and that this was how she should get back at me. Now, was it petty and dumb? Absolutely. But he wasn't so bright, and the story wasn't so far-fetched that she didn't believe him. She told me that since it was bullshit on his end, she was done with both of them, and we went on with our lives. The start of the long game. A few years went by. The girl has moved to another state, but we still keep in touch. And out of the blue, Carl's wife hits me up on the Book of Faces. We talk about how life has been and whatnot, where we live and such. Turns out she's just down the street from me. We keep talking every so often when she texts me one day asking for a favour. I'm not working that day and bored out of my mind, so I oblige and run a pack of smokes down to her since she's out and can't get more because of her kid. I get to her apartment and we hang out for a bit talking. We head out to the patio for a cigarette, and in the daylight her shirt is almost completely see-through. I make an offhand comment about it, and without a second thought, she pulls her shirt off. We go back inside and go to town on each other, on her and Kyle's bed. We keep the affair going for a few weeks, then just kind of stop. At this point, I felt my revenge was complete. I had this guy's wife on his bed, and he wouldn't know until they get into another huge fight. I wipe my hands of the drama and go about my day. Fast forward another few years. My band has just finished a huge show before we went on tour, and as I'm doing the meet and greet at a merch booth, I get a Facebook message from Kyle. Before the quarantine non-friend messages, Kyle was in the hospital. He said it was furious and had a question. Did you ever spend time with Hannah? I'm looking at this text thinking of all the ways I could mess with his head, but decided to probe a little by saying, I think that's something you should ask her first. He replies, I did, and she told me something happened at our apartment. I need to know if it's true. So I think for a second and send him 2 pictures we took. One of her giving me oral and one of the aftermath. He just replies, thanks, and blocks me. I think, good. Now the dick knows what it feels like, and go about my merry day. But this story isn't done yet, friendos. Not by a long shot. See, unbeknownst to me, Hannah and Kyle had another kid around 9 months after our affair, and it wasn't Kyle's. From the pictures, it was obvious that we didn't use protection, and there was no pullout, so he immediately suspected it was mine. Hannah knew better since she was already pregnant when we started, but just barely. Kyle viewed me as his enemy since high school because I stole all of his friends. So knowing that he was raising the child of someone he hated just burned him up inside. He turned to hard drugs and became a raging alcoholic. Tried to get information on where I lived and kept trying to get revenge on me for all this, but failed miserably. Lost his job, his family, what few longtime friends he had. Basically, his life just crashed around him. About 2 years ago, I reconnected with another ex from high school, and she told me the aftermath, what Kyle tried to do, what ended up happening to his life. How they took him for everything in their divorce. Last I heard, he's locked up for robbing a liquor store or carrying meth and a loaded pistol, which led him in prison for about 12 years. TLDR, guy gets my high school girlfriend to sleep with him, sends me pictures. I do the same years later, and it ruined his life. You just gotta accept what happens and move on. That's what OP did, and he failed to do the same. Last story for today. OP kills entire couple with some malicious compliance. And yes, again, another story of death. It's just gonna be a thing here on this subreddit. Heavy story. If you... also, this is a cross post from IDon'tWorkHereLady. Heavy story. If you look for wholesome content, please scroll past it. I'm neither sure if this is the place to post it, nor if I should do so in general, but I just can't keep it in anymore. I truly hope I will not get in any way recognized, but at this point, I find it unlikely enough to be willing to share this story here. And if it does come back to bite me, well, maybe, it should. The thing happened in the early 1990s. The relevant historical background to this is that Poland haven't really left the communist bloc just yet. First, free elections happened in 1989, but the process of escaping Russian influence, basically only doing what Moscow or their minions told them to do, took a while, and at the time of the story, the police wasn't necessarily used to doing its job properly. One of such poorly handled cases was the abuse of my next door neighbour's daughter. I'll spare you most details. Just know that the worst thing you can imagine happening to a young girl in such scenario did in fact happen many, many times. They are horrible, horrible people, and I hated them with all my being. I can't stress that enough. To the story, A couple of years later, after I have already moved away, I was visiting my family, and since I was a little early, 6 a.m, I stopped at a gas station I once worked at to chat with my old pals and wait for the sun to get a little higher. We were sitting in a little nook behind the counter, and lo and behold, who would come in if not the aforementioned neighbours at N? He pointed at something and went back out to fuel their car. She approached the counter, noticed me, and snarked, "You're back here? I guess your studies didn't go that well." "Actually, I did." "Yeah, sure, whatever. How much did he go for?" 100. I'm asking him. I didn't come back to work. I'm just visiting. Look, stop lying to me. You're just ashamed that you failed in life. Now come in and inflate our tires. Now. Unlike you, we don't have all day to sit and chat. I was so peeved. I legitimately hated them already, but this encounter, after so much time of being away from them, just completely took me off balance. I told my friends it's okay, I'll just do it. I went with her. I inflated one side correctly. I overinflated the other side so much I thought the tire was going to explode in my face then and there. They weren't even paying attention to me. The second I was done, and before I could even realise what I have just done, they took off. They crashed a few kilometres down the road. They both died. I have never heard of any investigation reaching the station. Wow. Okay. So, accidental death. Nice. You did what the entitled couple asked, along with "I don't work here," and it ended with their deaths. Okay. I'm going to end this episode here. Links will be in the description to my main channel and also the second channel for you guys to go check out, along with links on the screen to the playlist in the last episode. Don't forget to subscribe and hit the notification bell so you know when the next video comes out. A ding, a ding. Mad Scientist out.